I was taking my mother to work. It was around 8 o'clock.
John Lloyd was pulled over in Detroit back in 2020. He worked as an armed security guard, carrying a weapon he had legally purchased and registered 8 years earlier.
I let them know that I was armed. They checked out the information and told me that it was expired, pulled me out the car, handcuffs, in the back of the police car.
Lloyd had moved back to Michigan from Georgia, and his concealed pistol license had expired 3 months earlier. Like many, he said trying to renew his CPL through the Wayne County clerk wasn't easy after the pandemic shut the office down. Lloyd was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed weapon, or CCW. In Michigan, it's a 5-year felony.
It feels like that we are being targeted as a criminal, and we're not.
Over the last 2 years, the number of people arrested for only carrying a concealed weapon in Detroit has soared. Before the pandemic, fewer than 400 arrests were being made per quarter, but by the summer of 2020, arrests had quadrupled. As of November, more than 1,000 CCW cases were pending in the Wayne County Circuit Court.
Why are you going to take somebody who is really trying to follow the law, who is otherwise a law-abiding citizen, and criminalize that behavior for a mistake?
Criminal defense attorneys say cases like John Lloyd's are common. Citizens, usually African Americans, with no criminal records carrying legally owned guns, suddenly facing years in prison. Michigan is an open carry state, which means you can carry a legally owned and registered weapon so long as it's in full view. But the law is frequently misunderstood, with some gun owners thinking they can tuck their firearm into their waistband or drive with it in their car. But it wasn't that long ago that the city's then police chief actually encouraged Detroiters to carry firearms. This was James Craig back in 2014.
So good Americans who are responsible with concealed weapons can make a difference.
Christine Longstreet is a supervising attorney for Neighborhood Defender Services in Detroit.
You're arresting our brothers, uncles, sisters, aunts for carrying a gun in a city where they were told to be afraid, where they were told to arm yourselves.
Longstreet says that today, 70% of her organization's clients are legal gun owners with no criminal history. And while the number of black clients they represent has soared by more than 300% since the pandemic, non-black clients has actually fallen.
It's clearly a problem. And I don't want to leave anyone with the impression that it's not a problem.
Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy says any racial disparity in charges concerns her and said she was not aware of these numbers until we shared them with her. She said that under former Chief James Craig, DPD was making arrests it shouldn't have.
Their mandate was, let's go out and get as many CCW arrests as we can. In fact, let's even ask all Detroiters to arm themselves. We tried to advise against some of the arrests that were made. And I can say that as soon as James White came in, the very first thing that we talked about was the rise in the CCW arrests.
Worthy stresses that her office dismissed warrants on more than 1,500 CCW arrests and has referred more than 600 others to diversion programs. She says her office no longer charges gun owners whose CPLs expired within the last year, but that doesn't apply to those already charged, like John Lloyd. After losing his job as a security guard, today he details cars while a 5-year felony hangs over his head.
I'm praying that everything works in my favor and everybody else's favor that's going through this, but it's not right.
After our interview with the prosecutor, John Lloyd was offered diversion by Kim Worthy's office that could allow him to avoid having a felony conviction on his record. Former Detroit Police Chief James Craig released a statement to 7 Action News that reads in part, "Any inference that I or my office directed officers to make illegal CCW arrests is a flat-out lie. Whenever my team was made aware of an alleged illegal CCW arrest, it was my expectation that an internal investigation be immediately launched by the department's professional standards section." You can read Craig's full statement on our website at WXYZ.com. From Detroit, I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.
Thank you.